Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. Democrats and Republicans are now calling for Donald Trump to be removed from office under the Constitution's 25th Amendment. Donald Trump's former White House lawyer, Ty Cobb, says Trump's insanity is to blame for the Iran war and for the imploding global economy.
It's not a surprise that we're in this much trouble. It's not a surprise that, given the fact that the cabinet will not invoke the 25th Amendment for a man who is clearly insane. And this war highlights that. And these screeds that come out nightly, at 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. or, whatever time Trump decides to vent, without oversight, it highlights the level of his insanity and depravity.
Democratic Senator Chris Murphy wrote on X, "If I were in Trump's cabinet, I would spend Easter calling constitutional lawyers about the 25th Amendment. This is completely, utterly unhinged. He's already killed thousands. He's going to kill thousands more." At 8 a.m. on Easter Sunday,
Tuesday will be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the expletive strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah.
Let me tell you what won't reopen the Strait of Hormuz: threatening war crimes of bombing indiscriminately power plants, cursing at Iran.
In fact, Iran responded to Trump's threats by digging in and rejecting his demands.
Iran's Navy Command now posting on social media, the Strait of Hormuz will never return to its former state, especially for America and Israel.
Iran's parliamentary speaker added this:
Reckless moves are dragging the United States into a living hell for every single family, and our whole region is going to burn.
A day after his expletive-filled post, Trump doubled down.
Why did you use such vulgar language in that Truth Social post?
Only to make my point. I think you've heard it before.
Trump's point is that Iran must open the Strait of Hormuz or face the annihilation of Iran's civilian bridges and power plants. Experts warn that targeting civilian infrastructure is a war crime.
This could turn into more of what would be a total war. And essentially, there is no target off limits. And that is something that we've tried to avoid since the end of World War II as an international community.
Mr. President, how would it not be a war crime to strike Iran's bridges and power plants?
Because they killed 45,000 people in the last month. More than that. I think it could be as much as 60. They kill protesters. They're animals. And we have to stop them, and we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. Very simple.
Before the war, U.S. intelligence assessments found that Iran was not close to having a nuclear weapon. But Trump doesn't seem to understand the distinction between enriching uranium, which Iran was doing, and the extremely complicated next step of producing and putting together a nuclear bomb. Under Section 4 of the 25th Amendment, if the Vice President and majority of the Cabinet decide the President is unable to do the job and the President won't step aside voluntarily, they can notify Congress and the Vice President takes over as acting President immediately. As of this video, Vance has not spoken about Donald Trump's expletive-filled threats to blow up Iranian power plants and bridges. As for Donald Trump's invocation of Allah, Muslim comedian and political analyst Dean Obeidallah.
He's actually Muslim. I mean, we never thought about it. He's had 3 wives. He doesn't drink alcohol. Who knows?
He could convert. Maybe convert.
We don't want him. We don't want him.
He sure rejected Jesus today.
The Democrats have a chance. I like Ro Khanna there saying definitively no money. But what Democrats should be saying is, we're going to impeach and remove you. That's what they should be saying. This is not an excursion. This is a 6-week war. In his speech on Wednesday, he said it was a war because he compared it to other wars. He goes, you have to have patience. Look at World War II. How long that took? Look at the Iraq War. How long? We were at war for 6 weeks. It's not illegal. It's unconstitutional. If this is not grounds to impeach a president, I don't care about how many votes you have in the Senate. Your job by the Constitution is to hold the president accountable. That's why you're in Congress. High crimes and misdemeanors. This has to be. The Americans are dead. Billions of dollars are spent. Take the vote. Impeach the guy. I don't care what happens in the Senate. Do your job.
One of the jobs a president is supposed to do is consult experts. But Trump either hasn't consulted Iranian experts or is not listening to them. And one of the most widely respected Iran experts in the United States is Atlantic contributor Kareem Sajapour. In a string of posts on X, he wrote, "The defining deliberations of this war aren't between the U.S. and Iran, but Trump and himself. He's vacillated between walking away and promising to bomb Iran to the Stone Age. Iran has been consistent. Its ideology is resistance, its strategy is chaos, its endgame is survival. Trump has misunderstood the nature of the Islamic Republic. His threats to decimate Iran have not moved a regime which, since its inception, has shown itself willing to destroy the country and its people rather than compromise its power or ideology. In contrast to Trump, who has no fixed foreign policy views, Tehran's ruling class call themselves principalists because of their fidelity to the principles of the revolution, above all resistance against America and the rejection of Israel's existence. These revolutionary ideals serve as both a glue holding the regime together and an anchor holding the nation down. The country will never advance without abandoning the ideology. The regime believes it can't survive if it abandons its principles. Trump speaks about this conflict as a negotiation in pursuit of a grand bargain. Tehran may accept a narrow deal in exchange for a ceasefire, but its enmity toward the United States and Israel will remain. Ayatollah Khomeini chose martyrdom over normalization. His son will do the same. One of America's deepest misunderstandings about Iran has been conflating Iran's national interests with regime interests. They are often opposites. What would benefit Iranians, stability, global reintegration, normalcy, threatens a theocratic mafia that thrives in isolation. All of that is clearly too much for Donald Trump to comprehend or process. And so the United States remains at war with Iran, costing America countless blood and treasure. And Trump's inability to force Iran to make a deal is causing Trump to implode. Several Republicans say Donald Trump is lucky that Congress is out of session right now. Otherwise, the questions to lawmakers about Donald Trump's mental health would be inescapable. By the way, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is flipping out amidst reports that he tried to engage in war profiteering.
The Financial Times is reporting that a broker for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth contacted BlackRock Investments about making a multi-million-dollar investment in major defense companies right before the U.S. strikes on Iran. That's according to 3 people familiar with the matter. The report says that the investment, which did not go through, would have involved massive defense contractors for the U.S. government.
Well, I can tell you the first byline on that story is Paul Murphy, who's the FT's investigations editor, someone who I've known and worked with. I first worked with him more than 30 years ago at the Daily Telegraph here in London. He is one of the best journalists I have ever worked with. And so I think there's probably more to this story than the White House and the US Secretary Defense Department is saying.
Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Apophis, who wrote, "They don't even bother to hide their corruption." I hear you. I look forward to reading your comments about a former White House lawyer for Donald Trump saying Trump is insane and should be removed from office immediately. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.